Good win for Georgia Tech. We played, at 29 assists, according to our famous SID, Mike Stamus, who was the most assists since 2015, the Cornell game. So that was good. 29 assists on 35 made field goals. That's an excellent, stat. I think Kennesaw State, they run really good actions. We guarded well. But they're very well coached. Obviously, Coach Skinner has been very, very successful for a very long time, and we know we were going to have to play really great defense to have a chance to win the game. And for the most part, we were pretty good defensively. Second half, there was some letdown, but that's a credit to Kennesaw State. And then obviously, us making some threes in the first half helps. When you're just shooting the ball better, everything looks better too. So I thought Moses Wright really played well, especially that first half. Michael DeVoe, 6 assists, no turnovers. That's a great stat for us. And we had 8 turnovers the first half, and our goal is to have 11 or less, and we ended up with only 4 the second half. We had 4 3 stops in a row the first half. That was a goal of ours, trying to get to 4 the first half, and we only had 2 the second half. And that was partly why the shooting percentage numbers were higher. We didn't get the stops, so we needed to get stops. But overall, good win. Anytime you can get a W, it's a great thing, and keep getting at it and keep improving.
Josh, I know you've been looking for more scoring off the bench today. 18 field goals. You have to be really happy with that.
Yeah, first of all, I thought AD gave us good minutes around the hoop. And we need him to be effective for us. So when he's back and James up and he goes in, he just, unfortunately, AD's been a little bit of a slump. So hopefully this game can get him kind of trigger his mojo back to get him going. And I thought Shavari came in. He hit a 3, he had 3 assists, no turnovers. I thought Evan Cole gave us good action. Again, Evan Cole was starting for us, and he got that injury, and he just kind of gradually getting back to where he was. So seeing those guys come off the bench and give us good minutes like that, I thought Curtis Haywood, Brandon hit those 3s. I thought Curtis Haywood had some really good passes, and our starters did a nice job of getting us a good start again, which was a positive sign.
You seemed like guys were being a little more unselfish, trying to go to the hoop, and that really benefited in a lot of those.
Yeah. Well, from watching the game on last Saturday versus Georgia, we got a lot of good looks. We just missed a lot of shots too, and we talked about this after that game, and since we've been back for Christmas, is to really just kind of refine some of the things offensively and just try not to make sure that we're not giving the ball a headache or massaging the ball. The thing's got to keep moving. It's got to have good energy, and defense has been our staple. We've guarded pretty much at a high level all year long for the most part, and we've guarded. For the 3 years I've been here, we've guarded at a very high level. It's just, offensively we're at our best when we have player movement, ball movement, and we're cutting at a high rate, at a high speed. I always talk about the violent cuts, how hard we cut. That's when we're at our best. And a few games prior to today, we hadn't been cutting as well. Now, we cut well versus Arkansas. I didn't think we cut as well on Saturday versus Georgia, even though some of our scores were based on our cutting. But again, things open up when you're making 3s because it extends the defense out. And I've always said that we're gonna have to make some shots. First half we really shot the ball well, not as well the second half, but we just gonna have to make some 3s.
Would you say that the quality and just the space on some of the 3s was a little more than you had?
You mean just some of our 3s we got was more out of transition.
Right.
And we talked about that as a staff, Ken, that we've got to, because of some of our deficiencies and limitations offensively, because how good we are defensively, we have to make the opponent, pay when we get stops. And that was one of our things I don't think we were doing really well was putting pressure on the defense, because a lot of times transition defense is messed up off of a miss. It's scramble, and so we had to be more cleaner on our stops. We were getting all these stops, but we weren't getting anything in return. And sometimes the best way to score is in those first 10 to 12 seconds off of a miss, because it's sort of scramble and you kind of can move the ball and your feet are set and you're able to shoot open 3s. And that's kind of what happened today.
Was it part of the plan to get AD some more minutes because he hasn't had some recently, or had he kind of earned that?
No, I thought he was playing better in practice, and I just felt James, when he gets a little tired, we got to yank him out and get AD in there, and AD did a nice job. The AD was really good today. That's the AD that we've been, that's our standard for. That's the AD that we know that he can score around the hoop. He's got good moves, good solid post moves. When he tries to rush it or overthink it or make it more complicated than it needs to be, he's just not as effective. When he keeps things simple, he's a good player.
Prior to his injury, it looked like Evan, you knew he was going to be a good rebounder around the hoop, but tonight he also showed some good court sense on the offensive end.
He cut. He's a good. He's a great cutter. That's how survivability in the game of basketball is, how hard he cuts. He's got to be an energy guy. He's got to be an energy giver, and he did that. And he was really good at that. He had the injury, and it's just taken a little while to get back. He was better tonight, this afternoon, and and we hadn't had a lot of games where I could have just thrown him in and let him work through some things. So, it's just going to continue to be possession by possession.
How important was this win, and then winning the next game to build some kind of momentum?
Yeah, well, this one's important, and obviously we got Wednesday versus USC Upstate here, and so we got to finish out and close out the non-conference schedule the right way. And again, there's no gimmies, there's no easy ones. We're going to have to play at a really high level. I'll start watching tape on them tomorrow or later tonight, but we need to continue to have good momentum before we enter ACC play. And I would tell you, I was talking to, yesterday? Somebody, but they just said the ACC, from top to bottom, maybe you had that one or two team in the league or three teams that are just maybe really, really good. Every night is just going to be an absolute grind. And everybody is really good, and everybody can beat everybody, and that includes from top, middle to bottom, and it's just going to be one heck of a league.
Coach, can you talk to me a little bit about your interior defense? You guys only gave up 14 points in the paint.
Yeah, our whole survivability with our team is to defend, and we have to be really good defensively, and that's what we do. And if we're really good defensively, it gives us a chance to win games, and that's just who we've been. That's our MO. That's what we had. That's why I was a little disappointed in the second half that we didn't defend as well as we could have been. Thought we let our guard down a little bit, but defensively in the paint we did a nice job. We kept the floor shrunk. That's a big thing we talk about is keeping the floor shrunk, shrink the floor.
Seemed like on defense they did a good job communicating, passing men along, and
yeah, and part of that is being in the right spots. We talk about 3+1, sprinting to the ball's passed, you're a showman. We got to be a great stunning team. All those things matter. Keeping the floor shrunk. They got to see bodies. We talk about it all the time. They got to see bodies. Not one guy guards the basketball. All five guys guard the basketball.
Is it your hope that just into the comfort that don't shooting the ball from three can carry over?
We're just a better team, Kim, when we're making threes. I don't know why we have not shot the ball at the level that I had projected prior to the season. I really thought we were going to be a great three-point shooting team. Now, how we've shot it today, or at least in the first half, is what I believed. And I still believe it. So I just think, again, we got to keep trying to get good shots. And that's where I think, Ken, is we've got to take advantage of misses, because we're getting so many stops that we've got to try to get out faster in breaks and when they're in scramble to get more opportunities for three-point attempts.
What about, for the next foreseeable future, every night is a grind? What's kind of the key as far as, playing consistently through that grind for this team?
Yeah, well, it's going to be, look, we have to be who we are, and that's going to have to be, we have to be great defensively. And then on the offensive end, we just can't, we can't turn the ball over. To win in this league, you can't turn the ball over, and you're going to have to make some shots. And it sounds real simple and elementary, but we've got to be really good defensively, because we're not showing up in the ACC and overpowering anyone. Like, we're just not going to show up and say, we can out-talent you. It's not going to happen. There's maybe a team or two that can just be off and still win the game, but we're not one of them. We are going to have to be really good defensively. We can't turn the ball over. We're going to have to make some threes. Like, we have to be a great executing team. Our execution has to be at a high level on the offensive end. Defensively, it's not. It's more about culture than scheme or strategy. It's about just playing so hard with the motor. Offensively, it's our execution.
How did you see Jose kind of carrying that when he played against Georgia into this game, or even though he was.
Well, he and I talked a bunch over the break. He was hurt for that. We played Georgia, and he didn't play well. Now, I will tell you, he had some open shots that he just missed, and I also thought he took some bad shots, and we talked about that. And I think, Jose is so competitive, and he plays so hard, and he comes up with so many loose balls and 50-50 balls and sticks his nose in there on the defensive end. However, he has that same mentality on the offensive end, and that's where he's got to be better about understanding that offensively he's got to know time, score, we've got to have that competitive fire, but offense is sometimes more skill-based than just motor-based, where defense is so much motor-based. And so he's got to be, that's just part of his maturation on that, Ken. And I mean, that game hurt him. I mean, we talked about it. I mean, he knows, and he had some shots that should have won. He had some shots that he probably we should have passed up. And I should have pulled him and played him less minutes. He played 30 some odd minutes, Monday, 40 minutes Wednesday. I should have subbed him on Saturday. Instead of playing 40, he should have played 34 to 35 minutes, and he would have probably been better. So that falls on me on that one. I should have pulled him out, gave him a little rest.
When he's having that off day, who is the next person?
Well, Michael DeVoe then would have to move over to the point, But we need Jose. Not that as many. He can't. Our team can't afford to have that type of night that he had on March George. Now, again, he was great defensively, loose balls, all those things. He was on the offensive end. There was times where he tried to do it all himself, and he's not being selfish. He just wants to win because he's so competitive. But he's got to. That's just part of his maturation. He's got to know time, score, when, how. And I should have gave him a little rest. It doesn't have to be 15 minutes, but he needed some minutes to rest to kind of get his mental, side back, kind of get his wits about him, and that's just something that I should have done on that, looking back at the game.
How important are these games, getting 10 minutes, 10 quality, 11, 12, 13
huge.
Minutes for those bench guys before you get into ACC play?
Because you just never know, and it's
Yeah.
important. I mean, it's important. And look, you never know in these games. I mean, I live and die by every single possession. I mean, literally every possession. And but that's how it is. And so when we have a lead, it's nice to be able to get some guys in, but you just don't know because I'm just literally live and die with every single possession.
You said AD was overcomplicating things.
Yep.
Was that the main thing that's held him back kind of from getting where he needs to be?
Well, I think he AD because he can score around the block, but he was trying to be too much. One of my favorite players in the history of the game, Hakeem Olajuwon. With all the shakes. Well, I kept telling AD, you're not Hakeem. Hakeem's one of the 50 greatest of all time. Just keep it simple. You have a beautiful jump hook. You catch it shoot the jump hook, and then if the jump hook is guarded, then you use your up and under. But you're actually faking your own self out. So just keep things as simple as possible. And I think it just, hopefully this moves forward, because I think he can really score around the basket. He's a weapon for us because he can score around the hoop. But he's got to keep it simple. If he has 3, 4, 5 fakes, that's just too much. Shoot the jump hook, the quick hook, and if that's guarded, then use your up and under like you did today.
Jose, get a cutter and then the three from the league to start. Are those kind of things you're trying to get to for him? Or?
Yeah. Well, those are good shots.
Right.
And our survivability's got to be on our cutting and our player movement and ball movement. We got to continue to cut, and when you're cutting and you're making threes, that opens everything else up. But Jose had those. I think he had 2 threes. He had 2 threes. Yeah. And part of it was they were good shots. His feet were set. Right. And then he had a third one that he missed that was open. Now there was one that I told him that he took that was a bad 3. I pulled him for it on the slot there in the first half, if you remember, towards the Kennesaw bench. Like those are some threes those are ones he's got to turn down, or he's got to re-attack the rim, like go at the guy and get into the paint to draw to kick to others.
Do you feel like pulling guys like that is starting to kind of click finally? You actually have enough depth where you can pull a guy out, even like Jose?
Yeah, and you know, looking back at the Georgia, I should have, like I said, pulled out Jose just to give him some rest. But, you know, again, he gets possession by possession. You're not able to score, and you're just, you know, and like I said, I live and die by every single possession. Like, and that's good, bad, or indifferent. That's just who I am. And so, and so there are times when I probably need to pull a guy to give him a little rest. But I'm thinking he's going to get through it because it becomes, you know, get a little stuck. So that's just something that I've always said the best motivating factor is the bench. More than yelling and screaming, there's nothing better than the bench. But you got to have some depth to be able to do that.